Everybody, Michael Richards here with Elite Athletic Performance. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about one of the most basic premises that I use for our programming up here, and sometimes there's a little bit of a disconnect. That this is a really good way of explaining kind of what we're doing and why certain things are happening. So when you're talking about a beginner athlete, and this is the best way I've ever heard it described, and I heard this from Eric Cressy, which most of the things that I learned about are either from Eric Cressy or Driveline Baseball. This is the best way I've ever heard it described. So when you're talking about a new athlete, a beginner athlete, and you're like, well, why? Like, I'm not paying them to teach him how to be a power lifter. I want him or her to, I want them to be better at baseball. I want them to be better at volleyball. I want them to be better at whatever. Well, I think we could all agree that the enviable traits that we're looking for in our athletes are speed, power, athleticism, change of direction, health, conditioning, things like that. And when you have an athlete, a beginner athlete, in order to attain those things that you're trying to have, that an athlete is trying to get, you have to have a certain level of strength in order for that stuff to stick. So like, say if you have an athlete that is not very strong and you have them doing speed workouts, like your typical skills and drills, speed ladders, things like that. And that's not to say for like young 8-year-olds and stuff like that, like when they're 8 years old, really anything is good. But I'm talking about more up around 12, 13, 14 and older. A speed workout, quote unquote, what you would think of as a typical speed workout, even jumping boxes, things like that, is not really sticking that well if their strength cup is not very big. All right, so what is happening is, like, the liquid, the cup is the amount of strength that an athlete possesses. That's what it represents. It's the amount of strength. This is your strength cup, all right? And so the bigger the strength cup is, the more of the things that we're trying to get, the more we can fit into that cup, all right? So that's like this faucet right here, and I'm not an artist, but the faucet is spitting out the things that we are trying to attain: speed, power, athleticism, change of directions, rotational power. The list goes on and on. When you have an athlete that is not very strong, that has not spent time in the weight room, that athlete has a shot glass. They don't really have a mug, right? And so when you take that athlete and you put them through what you would think of your typical speed workouts, like vertical jump training, things like that, and they are not strong yet, you are taking that athlete, and understand that well, I don't want to get sidetracked. I'll get to that in a minute. When you take that athlete and you are putting them through these vertical jump trainings, or even a weighted ball program, and for baseball players, you're kind of missing the point. It's kind of like buying shingles before the foundation of the house is built, right? Or building it on sand, right? So you want to get this thing, like I said, you want to build this strength cup up and get it larger to where you can fit more of those things in. All right, so now most people and when I have this discussion with people, they'll tell me, well, we took our daughter or son to so-and-so, and they did maybe a vertical jump training type session, or they did speed and agility work, which is kind of a buzz term. And they're like, well, he got better a little bit. He did. Always remember this quote when you're talking about this stuff, and this is one of my favorite quotes. It's everything works. Some things work better than others. Nothing works forever. Okay? So when you have a beginner athlete and their level of athleticism is right here, right? And you take them, really anything that is going to give them a training effect, and it's going to take them up to, say if their athleticism level was here, right? It was at this level, and you took them and they did even a poor training program is going to boost their athleticism level up to about right here. But the question is, what happens after that? Because they will kind of bottom out, but you see what I'm saying? They plateau, basically, is a good way to say it. They would plateau right there, because over time, those speed and agility, you can't really change the stimulus. Like, yeah, you can do a different drill or something like that, but the other old saying that I love is, like, you can't change what you do or who you are, or anything like that, you can't change how you do things if you don't change how you do things. And so at some point you have to change the stimulus. And so that workout, regardless of what it is, that program or speed and agility class or whatever, basically is going to plateau them pretty quickly because there's just not a lot that they can do there. They're going to have to get in the weight room and to build strength in the right way in order to continue, because you're trying to get their athleticism to here, and you get them to right here, they've already plateaued on that particular training program, or it's a program, whether it's a program or a class or whatever. So that's where you're getting, because and like I said, even if you do, if you take this young athlete to a speed and agility class or something like that, and even if the drills change and they get more challenging and things like that, like I said, this athlete's strength cup is not big enough to retain that stuff, and so you can't really expect a ton out of that. This is the stuff that needs to happen after this has been obtained, right? So that's why our beginner athletes, when they come in here, I mean, it's just banging weights for a long time. I mean, we still do a lot of sport specific stuff with them. And, I'm not here to say that they don't need to be doing that stuff. They absolutely have to. They are baseball players, have throwing programs. They hit every single day and all that stuff. But where most people go wrong is to think that a training program is hitting all day, every day, or throwing all day, every day, or, a weighted ball program for a kid that's weak. Like you can't put a strong tree branch on a pile of Jello, or on a sapling. You can't attach it. It doesn't work. You have to build from the ground up. And so that's where there is a lot of disconnect or a miscommunication with people when they're trying to figure out why or what program to put their athlete in. So hopefully that explains that. If you have any questions, let me know. And you can ask them in the comments or email, DM, whatever, smoke signal, however you want to do it. So I appreciate you watching. Y'all have a great day.